You know that moment when you're on vacation? Maybe in Paris, maybe in Dubai, maybe just across the border somewhere, and you tap your credit card for a coffee or a hotel, or that one small souvenir that somehow costs $120, and you don't think about it. You're in vacation mode. Your brain is relaxed, the music is different, the air smells different. You feel free. Then 2 weeks later, you're back home, back to normal life, scrolling through your credit card statement, probably half distracted, and you see it. Foreign transaction fee. $4.37, $8.92, $16.15. And you pause. Wait, what is that? You don't remember agreeing to that. You don't remember clicking anything. You don't remember signing a "please charge me extra" form. And yet, there it is. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, not just how to earn it, but how it quietly leaks out of our lives in ways we barely notice. And foreign transaction fees? They're one of those tiny, almost invisible leaks that most people ignore until they realize how much they've actually lost. Because this isn't just about a few dollars on a statement, it's about how banks make money in ways that feel small, harmless, almost polite. And once you understand how this works, you'll never look at your credit card the same way again. Let's start with the basics. What even is a foreign transaction fee? On the surface, it sounds reasonable. You're using your card in another country, there's currency conversion, there are international payment networks involved. It sounds complicated. So banks charge you, usually around 1% from the card network, like Visa or MasterCard, plus another 1 to 2% from your bank. Most cards land at around 3%. 3%. That doesn't sound like much, right? If you spend $100 abroad, that's $3. Whatever. But here's where it gets sneaky. Let's say you spend $3,000 on a 2-week trip. Flights, hotels, food, random impulse purchases because, well, you're on vacation. 3% of $3,000 is $90. That's dinner at a nice restaurant. That's a museum pass. That's a month of groceries for some people. And here's the kicker. You didn't get anything for it. No service upgrade, no bonus, no added value. Just a quiet line item. Why does this matter? Because the way we feel about fees depends on how visible they are. If someone asked you up front, would you like to pay $90 extra for absolutely nothing? You'd laugh. But broken into tiny charges, hidden in the background, spread across dozens of transactions, it feels ignorable. That's not an accident. Now, here's something most people don't realize. You don't even have to be traveling to get hit with a foreign transaction fee. Buy something online from an international retailer? Subscribe to a service headquartered overseas? Book a hotel that processes payments through a foreign bank? Boom, foreign transaction fee. I once bought a digital product online, didn't even leave my couch, and got charged a fee because the company processed payments through Ireland. Ireland. I was sitting in sweatpants in my living room. It feels ridiculous, and honestly, it kind of is. The rule isn't about where you are physically, it's about where the transaction is processed. That tiny technicality is worth millions to banks every year. And that's where the rip-off feeling starts to creep in. Because technically, yes, they disclosed it in the fine print. It's in the card member agreement you probably didn't read. It's legal. It's transparent in a technical sense, but it's not emotionally transparent, and that difference matters. Let's zoom out for a second. Why do banks even charge this? Currency conversion does cost money. Payment networks do have cross-border processing expenses. Fraud risk can be slightly higher internationally. Those are real things. But here's what's interesting. Some credit cards don't charge foreign transaction fees at all. Zero. Same networks, same currency conversions, same global systems. So if it were purely about covering unavoidable costs, how can some banks afford to waive it completely? Because this isn't just about cost, it's about pricing psychology. Banks segment customers. They know frequent travelers care about this fee, so they offer premium cards, often with annual fees that eliminate it. Meanwhile, everyday cards keep the 3% fee because most people won't notice, won't compare, and won't switch. It's not random, it's strategic. And that strategy works because most of us don't make financial decisions when we are calm and analytical. We make them when we're excited, stressed, or distracted, like when we're on vacation. There's another layer here that almost feels unfair. Have you ever been at a foreign checkout and the machine asks, "Would you like to pay in local currency or your home currency?" It sounds helpful, it sounds convenient, but this is where something called dynamic currency conversion, DCC, enters the picture. If you choose your home currency, the merchant or their payment processor sets the exchange rate, and that rate is often worse than your card network's rate, sometimes 4 to 8% worse. So now you might be paying a bad exchange rate plus a 3% foreign transaction fee. Double hit. It's like paying a cover charge and then tipping the bouncer. And the wild part? The machine often makes the home currency option look easier, familiar, comfortable, because humans gravitate toward what feels safe and recognizable. That's behavioral finance in action, and unless you know this trick, you'll probably pick the safe option and quietly lose more money. Okay, so is this really a ripoff, or is it just a fee we don't like? Here's my honest take. It's not a scam. It's disclosed, it's legal, but it thrives on inertia. It thrives on people not optimizing. And that's what makes it frustrating, because avoiding foreign transaction fees is surprisingly easy. There are dozens of no foreign transaction fee credit cards, many with no annual fee, many with solid rewards. You can literally eliminate this cost with a 10-minute application, and yet millions of people don't. Why? Because switching cards feels annoying, research feels overwhelming, the existing card works fine. This is the same reason people overpay for cell phone plans, or insurance, or streaming subscriptions they barely use. Money leaks happen not because we're stupid, but because we're busy, and banks know that. Let me tell you a quick story. A friend of mine travels internationally for work, several times a year. For years, he used a basic credit card with a 3% foreign transaction fee. He didn't think about it. One day, he actually added it up. Flights, hotels, meals, taxis. He'd spent about $40,000 abroad over 2 years. 3% of $40,000 is $1,200. That's another plane ticket. Instead, it just evaporated. And the worst part? He qualified for a no foreign transaction fee card the entire time. He just never applied. That realization hit him harder than the money itself. It wasn't about being broke, it was about being unaware. And that's the real cost. So, what should you actually do? First, check your current card. Right now, seriously, Google your card name plus foreign transaction fee. If it says 3% and you travel even occasionally or buy things online from other countries, you're probably overpaying. Second, when traveling, always choose to pay in the local currency. Let your card network handle the conversion. Their rates are almost always better than dynamic currency conversion. Third, think bigger than just this one fee. Foreign transaction fees are a micro example of a macro pattern. Where else are small percentages quietly draining your money? High expense ratios in investment funds, bank accounts with monthly maintenance fees, credit cards with low rewards but high APRs? 3% doesn't sound like life-changing, but compounding works both ways. 3% lost every year over decades? That's serious money. Here's something that took me a while to understand. Financial control isn't about obsessing over every dollar. It's about plugging the obvious leaks. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need 12 credit cards. You don't need spreadsheets that track your coffee purchases down to the cent. But if there's a fee that provides zero benefit and is easily avoidable, why keep paying it? That's not optimization, that's neglect. And I say that with empathy, not judgment. I've paid these fees too. I've ignored statements. I've shrugged and thought, whatever. But whatever adds up, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's zoom back out. Why does this topic matter beyond the dollars? Because it changes how you see financial institutions, not in a paranoid way, not in a banks are evil way, but in a clear-eyed way. Banks are businesses. Their goal is profit. If a fee can exist without causing customer outrage, it will probably exist. Your job isn't to be angry about that. Your job is to be informed, because informed customers are harder to quietly charge. And honestly, there's something empowering about reading your statement and understanding every line. No mystery charges, no confusion, no "what is this" moments, just clarity. And clarity feels good. So let's bring this home. Foreign transaction fees are small, quiet, easy to ignore, but they represent something bigger: the cost of autopilot, the cost of not checking, the cost of assuming it's probably fine. Maybe you travel once a year. Maybe you order things online from other countries. Maybe you're planning your first international trip and you're just excited about seeing the world. Great. Travel, explore, spend on experiences. I'm not here to tell you to penny pinch your way through life, but don't donate extra money to your bank for no reason. Take 10 minutes, check your card, consider switching if it makes sense, because building wealth isn't always about making more. Sometimes it's just about keeping what's already yours. And honestly, that shift in perspective, from reactive to intentional, changes more than just your credit card strategy. It changes how you approach money in general. Less passive, more aware, still relaxed but not asleep at the wheel. And if this tiny, almost boring fee is the thing that wakes you up just a little bit, then it did more than cost you 3%. It gave you clarity, and that's worth something. Thanks for watching our video. Like and subscribe our channel.